Okay, so the next one is cost and freight. For the cost and freight, uh, it's going to also increase. There will be increment in price when you compare it with what's going on with the X works and the free on board prices. So for cost and freight, you have the your cost of production with the logistics that will bring the commodities to Lagos and the shipping rate that will take it to whatever port that it's going to. So usually because when you are dealing in freight, you are responsible for the commodity or for the container to get to the buyer. And when the buyer is paying you, the buyer is also will be communicating with you in his or her own currency. So the best thing to do is to use your dollar rate. So in FOB is accepted. You can use naira, you can use dollar, but when you're talking of cost and freight, cost insurance and freight, it usually comes in dollars. And if you are also talking with a foreigner, it's just better you use dollar. But for this presentation, I used a dollar at 365 naira. Yes, I know it's 415 naira right now, but I just use it so you can do your adjustment whenever you are doing your own calculation. So in this case, the soybean price is $701.4 CFR. The CFR means that the price I'm actually giving to that person is cost and freight. So in our communication, let's say he has already told me where the commodity is going to land or the port at which is going to be. So let's say Ho Chi Minh Port in Vietnam. So if I tell him, okay, the price is $500, is $1,000, is $3,000 CFR. The CFR means cost and freight. It's going to get to him. If I say FOB, Apapa, he knows that okay, FOB means I'm going to bring that commodity from the place of production down to the port and he is going to take over from there. So the importer now, the buyer is has much advantage when it comes to cost and freight rather than free on board because like I said earlier, the free on board we only get the commodity down to the port. But for the cost and freight, it gets it to the buyer. So the buyer has much advantage because if he doesn't get the goods, or maybe if he doesn't get the bill of lading, he is not going to pay. And when it gets to him, he can check it. He can check maybe you scammed him, maybe there's a fraud, maybe the quality is not okay, maybe the specification is not met, and by that, he can reduce the price of the commodity or he can tell you he's not paying the exact amount that you guys agreed on rather than when the commodity or the container will just get to the loading port and he has to pay. So there one has an advantage for the uh, for the importer and the other has an advantage for the exporter. Okay, so as you can see in the second frame that I used in the presentation. That's cost of production of your commodities and logistics. I'll move it to the loading port and the freight or shipping charges. So I'm going to be using more of this presentation for you so that you can see what I'm writing and also listen to me at the same time as I'm explaining it. So in the case of our example, as we've been using for X warehouse and FOB, see the soybeans price of your cost and freight is now the cost of production, your marketing cost, your storage cost, if you actually spent money on storage. But if not, just remove it from it, then the amount of money you pay the truck company, your booking for the container, whether it's 20 feet, whether it's 40 feet, then your freight cost, the shipping charges. Your agency cost is actually the amount of money you are paying your freight forwarder who is working for you, then your miscellaneous and your profit So that's giving you the cost and freight for that same commodity that we've been looking at.